Cool. All right. Where's a link to this? All right, I'm streaming this on YouTube this time. Let me see if it gives me the link to the stream itself. How do I get there? Content, manage. Okay, exit, cancel. Well, how do I know the stream? Copy video URL. Maybe it's there. Okay. Post reply. Let's see what happens. Okay. All right, perfect. Looks like we're live. All right, good deal. So hopefully we have microphone. Yep, you guys can hear everything. All right, so I can hear it. We're good. I can kind of view it on there. So let's jump right into it. So those of you who follow me a little bit, you'll know that I constantly do these reviews on cases that I feel like doing. If there's good points, I say it. If there's bad points, I say it. This is all in the spirit of information and transparency, and the more you know, the better decision that you can make. So we had a kind of a discussion that ended up going a long time on AZ Billiards about the merits of a knockoff looking case that was like 70, $80 or something like that, or $105 with shipping. And the person that did the review, which I'll show you in a second, they said that that in their opinion, the case was as good as anything that they had seen or they had experience with in the $200 to $250 range. So I took exception to that because we have cases in the $200 to $250 range, and I explained, why that I didn't think that it was as good. And it so happens that I had this brand of case since August, and I just hadn't gotten around to reviewing it. So I reviewed it, and I put that up online, and then it spawned another, 6-7 pages of conversation. So then I found that I didn't have the exact same model. So I went ahead and ordered the same model. So in the spirit of this, let me go here and go to the first page of this review. And that way I'll make sure you guys see what I see, okay? So the guy says, let me pull this up here. Give me 1 second. Window capture. Let's get Crical case, AZ Billiards forums. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to pull this up. Hopefully you guys can read this. Let me get it up as big as I can here. Okay. So basically what it says is this. I bought a Crical case via AliExpress. The headline is, I'm very pleased with it. More thoughts. Cost was $80, $105 after tax and shipping, 2 butts, 4 shaft. Be careful, advertising free shipping. Ordered one. They messaged me asking for extra money to cover shipping. Well, that's, I didn't talk about this part of it, but that's another thing when you're dealing with these vendors like this. You honestly don't know what you're going to get, and you really don't have much recourse, if something goes wrong. So these cases carry no warranty. You may get crap, you may get broken stuff. You never know, okay? So it says the interior is padded with foam and covered in soft fabric, including the dividers. Mostly great, but 20% annoying because the fabric is black. Dividers are recessed an inch or two. So if you're not in a well-lit environment, it can be hard to see where you put your stuff. So now what he doesn't tell you is the interior is padded only at the top 4 inches, right? So it's not padded below that. It's basically just thin nylon between your cue parts. That's the one that I reviewed, right? Now we're going to review this one. This one right here. Oh, sorry. I'll show you in just a second. Hold on. We're going to review this one right here so you can see it hasn't been opened. That's the original tape that's on the box. And you'll see it came in from, well, it says Conlin on here. Let's see. And it came from Jingzhou, China. Okay? And also something in Germany, I'm not sure. So you can't tell where these things really come from. But anyway, that's the box. So let's continue on with this. So he says, so anyway, when he wrote that about the interior, he didn't know that the interior is not all the way down. So we're going to open this one and see. Now, the one I reviewed was not this model. Okay, that's what's in this box, hopefully. But anyway, let's see. Exterior covered with nylon weave fabric. Looks nice, feels rugged. Okay. Blue decorative bits are polyurethane. I don't think PU ever looks good, but at least these are only decorative bits. Okay. Shoulder straps are attached with some heavy duty stitching. Shoulder strap. The reason I bought this new case because the shoulder strap on my old case broke. Okay. Not a concern with this new case. We'll see. This is a variant. There's a variant of this case that has 3 storage compartments. It looks nice, but Crical is printed on the compartment. No thanks. That's the one that I reviewed. Okay. Crical, Conlin, Zoku, and J Flowers, all the same company. Yep. Overall, this case is a huge step up from the 2x2 hard cases that you see everywhere for $40. I'm going to disagree with that too because it also depends on how the cases are made. But, the guy is not a case maker. I don't think that he inspects very many cases. So there's statements like this that I really, kind of take issue with. But, okay. Quality seems great. From what I've seen, I think it's comparable to anything in the $200 to $250 price range from a U.S. manufacturer or a U.S. vendor. So I would question how much he's actually seen because I don't agree with this either. Okay, I would recommend it to anybody. So he's vouching for the case, but this is the part where I have a problem with. Right? We manufacture cases in the $200 and $250 price range, and this case is, in my opinion, not really comparable to ours in any good way. Okay, it has been pointed out to me that the internal, now this is an edit, that the internal padding is only a few inches long and doesn't run the entire length of the case. So at the bottom end, the only thing preventing direct contact between the cues is a thin sheet of nylon fabric. Make purchasing decisions accordingly. So that came about after a long discussion when I showed what was in the other case. So I don't know if this case has the same interior or not. I would guess that it does, but we'll see. Okay? There are cases in that price range that have full-length internal padding, so if you spend more, you can get a better case. I still contend that this case is a good value at $80 plus shipping and tax. Well, it's a good value if it never harms your cues, but if it harms your cues, then not so great a value, right? If we flipped the interior over and the thin nylon was what you saw at the top, instead of the little bit of padding that's in there to fool you and make you think it's padded, would that still look like such a good value? I don't think so. But, your results may vary. Okay, so there's the case right there. So let's open this box and see what we have in here. Okay? All right, so there you guys go. You know what's in there. Let's open it up and we'll see what we got. All right? And I want to make sure everybody understands that, some people try to accuse me of doctoring these things or, not being, some people say, oh, you're just jealous and all this and you're scared of the competition and all this. No, I'm not scared of the competition. You know why I'm not scared? Because every time somebody buys a case like this and it falls apart or their cues get damaged or something, eventually they become our customer anyway, and they graduate to a case that has superior protection. and all they've done is they've endangered their queues and spent extra money. So my job here is to teach you what we do compared to the competition. You make whatever choice you want, but if you are swayed by what I would say are ignorant reviews like this, right, then you may not ever know that there are superior options out there, right? But because if it was me and I was reading this, I would think, oh, that all sounds reasonable, right? This guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And the thing is that guy has no interest in protecting your queues whatsoever. He doesn't. He just writes a review, in my opinion, because he wants to make himself feel good about his purchase, right? That's just, maybe I'm guessing there. You know, people assign motivation to me all the time. But, you know, he will probably say, well, I'm just writing it to help other people, to let them know that there's a good case out there that's comparable to cases that are priced much higher for $80, you know? And the thing is that would be great if what he were saying were true. But what he's saying is absolutely not true. And I think that he doesn't even know the difference and wouldn't ever know the difference if I hadn't pointed it out to him. But even after it being pointed out to him, he's still maintaining that the case is a great value, and he's still maintaining that it's the equivalent of the cases that are $200 to $250. So, you know, with that in mind, I think that it's fair that we do a second review on the exact model that he has, and then we can see what we find out. So here we go. So I literally just walked in the door and saw this, so I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. It's all stream of consciousness, right? So on. All right, so let's take a look. So pulling this out, let's make sure that we have the right one. Okay, so a couple things stand out to me real quick on here is that this one has no top handle. I'm going to put the picture up real quick just so we're all clear that we're on the same page. This is the one that he ordered, and I think you all can agree that it looks about the same right there. So I think we don't have any disagreement that this is the same case. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at it. So first things first, case doesn't look too bad, right? It's nice and tight, looks pretty good here. Oh wow, look at this. This is actually the first time that I've seen this, that they've actually knocked off the zipper. Look at this. Using the zipper as a seam like we do on ours. That's the first time ever that I've seen anybody do that. Let's take a look here. I just want to show you guys. I just want to show you guys what that means, right? So this is, I invented this using the zipper as a seam. So that's what we do on ours. So I thought that's pretty funny right there. It's the first time I've ever seen that. That's pretty interesting. So we'll see if that makes a difference, because I know why we do it. I don't know if that's why they do it, but let's see what happens, right? So I'm just curious about something. Let me see. Nah, it's still pretty loose. Okay. All right. So the guy says, first of all, let me take a look inside of it. Let's take a look. All right. So this is a 2x4. And there's the padding inside. So if you look at that and you look at ours, because we'll compare ours, right? Let's compare apples to apples here as best we can. All right, here. We'll compare apples to apples as best we can here. So this is our interior. That's what it looks like. So you can see that it looks nicely padded right from the top. Okay, now this is our interior all the way down. So you have that padding right there at the top. That's about this much double padding. Then you have single layer of padding all the way down, and then you get down to about right here, and you have another double layer of padding right here. Then it's also fully sealed at the bottom. The cavities go all the way to the bottom, so the cues can't cross or touch. Nothing can migrate from one cavity to the other. And there you go. So that's what that looks like. And then, of course, you saw that I removed the interior, which means that that basically, if there's ever a problem, then you can just simply remove the interior and put it back in this easily. And it's fully Velcroed at the bottom with industrial strength hook and loop down there. So, you know, you can turn the case over, nothing comes out, and so on. So this is ours. This is the first thing we look at right here is what does it look like when you put the cue in. There you go. So the cue is securely inside. Nothing coming out. You can easily pull it out like that. And there you go. Now, one thing is when you put the cues back in, you want to seat it down at the bottom. You want to get the Velcro, the hook and loop. I'm sorry, I shouldn't call it Velcro because Velcro is a trademark. So I'll try to stop using that, you know. But it's industrial hook and loop material. And you want to make sure that it's fully seated at the bottom so it sticks. That's what stops it from coming up when you put your cue in. Now nobody else does this because it's a complicated way to construct the interior, but we do it because we want the cues to be protected. But if anything does happen to the interior, we want you to be able to take it out and fix it or replace it easily. Okay. All right. So there's ours. Now let's put this in and see what we have, right? So first of all, we'll stick that in. Now, remember I told you that the padding is only at the top right there. So watch this. I'm just going to jiggle it a little bit. See how it falls in? Now watch this. Oops. So that tells me that the padding, and I can, as I stick my fingers in there, see where my hand is right there? So if I put my hand down to about right there, that's about as far as my fingers can go inside. And I can barely feel the nylon just below it when I push my finger in. If you just put your fingers in normally, most people will not know that there's not any padding below this part. But that's what it looks like. So it looks decent, right? If you look at it like that, except for the fact that, as you saw, the cue just fell out of it. You know? So once again, that's how easy it falls out. All right, so anyway, let's continue. So let's continue and take a look at what we got here. So we know that part, the padding's not that great inside. Second thing is the zippers. So we wanted to see, the guy's like, well, I think my zippers are tougher than the other case that you did. Well, let's find out, right? So one thing we don't want is we don't want zippers to break. Well, these are metal zippers. See this? Now, I don't know if they look tough to you, but let's find out. Right? Here, we'll bring it over here. Because zippers are one of the things you touch the most on a case. So let's see how hard it is to break this off. Well, that wasn't hard. Broke it off pretty easily, right? And you only have one zipper there. So there, that broke off pretty easily. We'll stick that in there. Pull this around and zip it back. So you only got one zipper on there, so hopefully that won't break on you. All right, let's look in here. We have thin fabric, so this is the same as the other case. Let's see how easy that is to tear out. Ready? I'm just holding it here just so I can hold it, but let's see. All right, that's not bad, but it is thin fabric. So it's coming out a little bit right there, you know, not too bad, but it's just a piece of fabric that they sewed in. You can kind of see how easily it tore out right there. And when I say that, right, so people will say, the guy's like, well, you're probably putting too much effort into it, right? It's not about that. It's about the repeated use will wear this out inside, so you got to be tougher. Plus also, this is a lot of fabric. So it's going to catch. See it catch that zipper right there? It catches right there because they don't care. They don't know what they're doing. So they put this where it can billow out like this. This is also the same as the other case. See how it billows out right here? So if you don't have a jump cue or something in there and you put it in and it causes this fabric to go out, then it'll hang your zipper. That's also a way to break your zipper if this gets caught. So, you know, that's a problem. Now, you know, just to be fair, let's compare it. Let's compare it directly with this one. So right here, this is obviously what they copied us from, but if you look, this is padded inside, so it stays inside. So if you have, here, I'll take this padding out right here so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is padded in here, so it's sewn, by the way, right here, and at the top it's fully sewn and fully enclosed. So it makes like an envelope type of deal right here where it's folded over, so it doesn't want to go out when you zip it up and you zip it down. Now you can push this out, of course, you know. You can push it out like that. If I deliberately go in and I push it out like that, you can see how it's sewn. But this is a padded fabric in here, padded on both sides. So when I push that in, it's not likely to hang up the same way, but it's also very unlikely once it's in there to ever come out by itself. So you don't have to worry about that coming out. And then of course we have here our fully open zipper, so you can easily get into the pocket and see everything. Now this one here is done a little bit differently, so it's not quite the same fair comparison to compare the main zipper on this pocket to the main zipper on that one, because the main zipper on this one, obviously you can open it up like that and be able to see everything in the pocket. But now here, the pocket is sewn on. There's our piece of fabric in there, you know, and it's open here at the top inside. So that's not great. And then this is just sewn straight onto here. So ours has fabric liner all inside the pocket here at the top and bottom. So you have fabric liner here, not the same, it's not the material of the body, has fabric liner here, and anything with Velcro sticks to our fabric. So you can do a lot of organizing in there with any kind of like hook and loop material. So anyway, there's that. This pocket here opens all the way up like this. So there you go. Same thing here. You've got a fully padded or lined pocket right here. And on the top, you've got a lined pocket as well. So we make accessories that stick to this. So like phone holders and stuff like that. But that's the comparison of the pockets. And then each of our pockets has two zippers in case one should break, but ours are super tough so they don't break. But in case one should break, you still have a functioning pocket. Whereas here you've only got one per pocket, so when they break, you're done. All right, so anyway, that's that right there. Good thing on here, I mean, decent, right? They did put a little extra nylon piece right there for the sides. So that's good, but this is also very small. By the way, this looks to be like maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. Right there, so you know you're not going to be getting a lot of stuff in there before you're stretching out this pocket. Oh, I'd actually, if I stretch it out right there, I'd call it about 1 inch maybe stretched out. Whereas here, you're talking about 1 3/4 inches, 2 if you stretch it, you know, so you've got a 2-inch pocket, so you've got, you know, at least double the capacity and height right there. As well, I think we have better width. Let's find out here. Sorry. They might be about the same in width, so you know that might not be yeah, they're about the same in width right there. So there you go. Now ours appears to be about 1/2 inch longer here, and then this pocket here is way bigger. See this one? So our middle pocket is way bigger on that one. So you're definitely getting more pocket space with our case than you are with this one. So, and just to be fair, so our basic rugged case, which is what this would be the equivalent of, and I don't think I have one here to show you. Maybe I do. Okay, here we go. This would be more. Now this is a 2x3. This is a 2x3, but it's going to be more the equivalent of the case. So if this were a 2x5, it would be $10 more than the price of this case. So the price of this case is approximately $240. So the 2x5 version would be $250. But otherwise, it's the same case. So we have a single strap on the back. You have the same UltraPad interior inside. So the interior inside would be the same, you know, except that it would be 2 butts and 5 shafts instead. You have a bigger pocket here. You have a bigger pocket here. And then, of course, we have the side handle here and so on. So now let's do some comparison, right? So first of all, one thing I noticed is you have more capacity just in the size of the case, right? So let's come over here and take a look. So we'll see if we can get both of those to stand up. All right, I can't get it to stand up, so I'm going to set it like that for just a moment. I want to get a ruler. And I want to compare the size here. So let's see what we got, right? The guy says it's comparable to a $250 case. Well, let's find out. So the capacity of this case is 30 inches. 30 inches. Here you go. 30 inches. And then the capacity of the lid is 1 3/4 inches. So it's 1 3/4 inches is the capacity of the lid. Let me see if I can get this up where you guys can see this. You'll have to look at it upside down. But there you go. The capacity of the lid is 1 3/4 inches. So there you go. So that means that it's 31 3/4 inches is what will fit in this case. All right. Now let's take a look at ours. Sorry, the zipper's already hanging up right there. Okay, there we go. All right, let's take a look at ours here. So ours is the following. All right, so ours is 31 inches, right? 31. So there you go, 31 inches. Looks like a little bit past 31, but 31, all right? And our lid should be about 1 inch, 1 1/4, right? So our lid is 1 1/4 inches. I know that looks like 1 1/2 right there, but it's really 1 1/4. Okay, so that means that ours fits 32 1/4 inches. So you get a 1/2 inch more, but you could get 32, and it's 31 inches up to the lip here. Let me make sure again one more time. Yeah, 31 inches to the lip is what you got there. So you got a little more capacity. You got an extra 1/2 inch capacity in there. But you're going to see something when I open the bottom of this other case. You're going to see something that you know, I hope you find disturbing, you know, if they didn't do a better job than what I've seen before. All right, so anyway, let's continue looking at the exterior of the case a little bit more. So as I said, our cases have extra heavy duty zippers. These are YKK zippers. You guys can go look it up. You know, the YKKs are commonly known as the best and toughest zippers in the world. We put 2 of them on each of the pockets here. So you've got 2 zippers here, you've got 2 zippers here. Now, as I said, they have 2 zippers on the top, but not 2 zippers on the pocket zippers. The reason that we do this is so we don't have to turn the case, and we can make everything tougher. So all of these stress points are very tough. They're not only sewn, but they're also riveted underneath. So super tough. Same thing here with all of our stress points here, here, you know, you got D-ring here, so nothing's pulling against the thread. So same thing on the bottom. All right, now let's take a look at what we got here. So also, okay, this is a suede shoulder pad right there, so it's non-slip. So when you put it on your shoulder, you'll notice it has a dog bone there, kind of looks like that, so it fits into your shoulder. You go like that, and it stays put where you put it. You don't have to. You don't find yourself like leaning like this to hold it on. You can just stand there normally like this, and no problem. Well, this one has a dog bone, but has a very little bit of a dog bone. But you see here how it slides in there, and then right here, it's very slick. So you pull this down, and you go to put this on, and it immediately wants to slide off right here. You notice I'm not moving right here. I'll do it again. Right? I'm not shaking it or doing anything. I'm going to stand very still. Right? Standing very still, hardly moving. Now watch what happens when I take a step toward the camera. See that? Now watch this. See, these are all the things that this guy doesn't even know about, but he feels confident to talk about it. He feels confident to say, oh, this case is the equivalent of anything, right? Let me repeat that to you guys here real quick. He says, I feel like it's comparable to anything in the $200 to $250 price range. Okay. Okay, let me step towards you. You step back, turn around again, turn around and around, right? Lean this way, lean this way, lean this way a little more. How much do I have to lean to get this thing to fall off? Okay, let's do it again with this one. I want to make sure you guys understand that we're doing a fair comparison here, right? Okay, I've got that into my neck as far as it will go, right? Let's try it again. Maybe that wasn't good. Here, let's try it again. Okay, so what happens there is when you're carrying this case, this is how you will have to handle it. You will constantly be like this. You'll constantly be leaning this way to hold the case on. Constantly standing there like this to hold the case on, to stop it from slipping off your shoulder. You know, that's just comfort. That's ergonomics. And you know, these are all the things that add up to why a case like ours cost what it cost. So for somebody to say that this case is the equivalent of my case, which is what's being said, then I think that's ignorant at best and it's malicious at worst. Okay? All right. But anyway, you know, people are allowed to be excited about their stuff. No big deal. So let's go back to the zipper again. Well, gee, that was easy. That was so easy. Now it's just, oh, that piece just completely broke off. So there's your quality level. Right? There's your quality level right there. You see, I barely put any effort into that. Okay, well, there's number 2, so let's stick that in here. All right, so here, let's get this open. Let's take a look at what else we're looking at here. So other things are, you know, how tough is this piece right here? Not very, you know. Oh, that's gone. So both of those are gone now. This is, another thing is here, you'll notice how this is made. He says, oh, you don't have to worry about it. The strap is not going to break, right? Well, first of all, this is sewn in right here directly on the seam. And when you're carrying it, you're actually, the force of the weight is against the thread. So you're always constantly pulling against the thread here. So maybe it won't, like, you know, look at how much effort I'm putting into this. Very little, by the way. But take a look. See, it didn't take very much to break that. But now the guy says, well, you know, let's estimate you put in about, you know, 30, 40 pounds of force or whatever. You know, my case will never have that. That's not the point, really. The point is that you're trying to depend on a little bit of thread right here. And once that starts working loose, then it just keeps going. It keeps coming loose. There's nothing to stop it from continuing to unravel. Once one little bit of that starts going, the whole thing is going to go. Oh, now look what happens. Oh, look, they even sewed it into the same spot here. They didn't do any extra sewing in here to keep this closed. So now their little zipper seam here is gone. Well, I got to thank them on that because that makes it easier to do this, right? So let's go ahead and get into that. So that's what you're looking at right there. Now let's do the bottom since we're already there. See what happens, because this is all sewn into the bottom. Let's see how much it takes to get that to come off. God, this is just, I'm barely doing anything here. You know? I'm barely doing anything right there. And that's what it looks like already. Look at this nail. Look at that nail. They put the nail inside the same space. Look where they put the nail. They put the nail in the same space where the strap and the D-ring is. So how's that not going to affect anything? See how easily I took that off? Look at that. That's nuts. Right there. I don't care how you look at it, that's nuts. All right, so just out of curiosity, let's see if I can take these nails out that way. Let's see how easy it is to tear this apart at the bottom now. I mean, I'm just curious. All right, so that's as far as I got it right there without taking the nails out. So now we'll go get a pair of pliers and take the nails out and see what we get. All right, let's take these nails out. Now I want to show you, before I take these nails out, I want to show you guys something. I want to show you guys something here. These are the nails that we use. Okay, now I'm hoping you guys will be able to see this. But these are the nails that we use. Come on, focus. I can't get it to really focus. But these are barbed nails. These nails have ridges in them. So when you put your fingernails in here, right, they're set so they go in like this. They go, if you push them in, they got ridges that are angled. So when you try to pull them out, they're very difficult to come out, right? I I forget what the exact name is of this type of a nail. Shank nail or something like that, maybe, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what we use, okay? Now, let's compare that to what they use. Okay? That's just a regular, normal little nail with no barbs on it or anything. So let's see. Let's see what those look like. See how hard they are to take out. No barbs, nothing. And this is the thing about these cases. So this case actually looks better than the other case that I did, but it's actually built worse than the other case that I did, which is, very interesting. So let's see here. Can we get that out easily? Yeah, it's built worse. Like it's so hard to believe the things that they do with these things that they don't even think about, and they think to themselves, oh, this is going to be fine. And they don't care because they know that they're never going to see this case again. Nobody's ever going to come back after a month or a year and complain to them about this case and expect to get any sort of resolution out of it. So it's just as I suspected. It's even worse. It's even worse than the other case. All right, let me show you this. Oh shit! Ah, damn it! God, I can't bend down anymore. All right, so this is the bottom piece that just popped out. Now you saw how weak those nails were, right? So if this is how it is, and this doesn't even, look at this, it doesn't even really fit in here because they had the material wrapped around it in there. But what happens is every time you put your cue in here and it slides down and hits the bottom of this, it's working these nails a little bit. So eventually those nails are just going to give up. And there's no glue or anything else in here to hold it in. So that's it. It's just that. So this is a piece of EVA foam, okay, which is good. Glued to a piece of wood, all right, wrapped with this vinyl material. And then, of course, you got the little metal brads on there, right? But look how much that floats in there. Now, of course, they did that because they wanted to have room to be able to fold this in right there and put that in. But it's still not enough. So when they fold this in, this is what it looks like when it's folded in here. And it basically doesn't make this very tight. Even with that, it doesn't actually sit it very tight. Now the other thing that you have to consider is this. None of this is glued. Ah, shit. None of this is glued right here. So there's nothing extra holding it. So it's just basically the fabric itself is what's the tension of the fabric itself wrapped around like this is what's supposed to hold that in place. So that's ridiculous. That's bound to fail fairly quickly, So again, the guy is talking from ignorance. Okay, so let's look at this. Oh, one thing I didn't look at, I wanted to show you real quick. I didn't get to this part right here to see. When this was all together, I didn't see how tough this piece was. But let's take a look. So inside of it, you have it sewn like that, just a little X there, right? So let's see what it takes to tear this off. That's it. That's it. Let's try this one. That's it. I mean, that was barely any effort. And there you go. Now your handle's off. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous right there. All right, let me go back. I want to see if anybody even watching this. Oh, we got 9 people. Okay. All right. Oh man, where's my post? All right, there it is. All right, we got anybody watching? I don't see any comments. Okay, so anyway, that that to me is almost weaker than the other one, you know? Where's the other one at? Let me go find it. I don't know where they put it. Oh, here it is. So this is the one that I reviewed last week. So let's take, I didn't try this test on this one. Well, there you go. So same, right? I should save this one for a future video. Same thing though, you know? So both of them are horrible. So in no way, shape, or form is that anywhere close to this case at $250. So let's try that on this one. Okay, you ready? So unless you think I'm acting, there ain't no way that's coming off with, you know, a much bigger multiple of force applied to it. And you know what? I let people do this at shows. So at shows, I will say to anybody, go pick a case. Go ahead and try to tear the handle off. Go ahead. You know why? Because the worst thing that could happen, the handle tears off. You know what I do then? I say go do another one. Because if the handle tears off easily, then it means we just had a bad moment. We didn't do our job, right? For whatever reason. But that never happens. It never happens that someone can tear this handle off. And you know why it never happens? Because we employ continuous improvement. We're continuously making things tougher, more durable, tighter, you know, and making it where these things just don't happen. This guy says he bought a case because his strap came off on the other one. Well, guess what, guy? You're going to be in the same position here with the one you bought. You know? And you don't think so right now, but you will be. And bets are you're not going to come back on here in a year and show us how it's holding up. Now the guy says I'm extremely careful with my case and everything. Well, imagine this. The case that he had where he was extremely careful with it, the strap broke on it, right? So now you've seen me do this with this case. What do you think is going to happen, you know, after use, even after his gentle use? What if you're the kind of person that doesn't use it as gently as he claims to use his? So there you go. All right, now let's look at the interior. All right, so remember, they fool you here with padding. What do they do at the bottom? Thin nylon. Now, here's the kicker on this. Let's look at how far up this goes with this nylon. This is approximately, okay, being generous right here, this is approximately 2 inches right there before it stops. So let me see if I can show you this real quick. Okay, so there's the interior. So I'm going up the center so we get right to the divider right there, right? So what does that say? 2 inches. So approximately 2 inches. Well, guess what? This is not 2 inches. That stops. Let's look here. There's our holes. Right there. Right there's the hole. So let's put that in. Approximately where the holes are. It's going to slip down in just a second. I'm pushing it on one side. So that's where the holes are. Right there. The rest of this comes down to about right here, which means you've got about another inch of just empty space between, here, I'll put it out here so you can see it. So we'll get this lined up with right about where the holes are. So there you go. So from here to about right here, you've got just empty space in there. So when your cues go down in there, they look like this. This is what your stuff looks like when you stuff it in there, right? Where's, I need a shaft. Took away all my shafts. All right, this is what your stuff looks like. This is what it looks like. Now watch this. You hear that? Started to come out here. Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you want to hear when your stuff is all in there? And your cues are banging against each other right there? Or here, we'll do it the other way. Right? We'll do it the other way right there. Is that what you want to hear? You want your cues sliding around all the time and banging up against each other every time you hit a pothole or something? I don't think so. Okay? But maybe you do. I don't know. Easy in, easy out. All right, so let's take a further look here. Where did I put those scissors at? All right, so now we're going to open this up. So now another thing, see how this just has one strip of little tape here on there? This stuff comes out easily. Here, let's try something here. I'm going to try to pull this out and see if it works. Or pull this down, right? Just to show you how easy it is to take this off. So I don't have to do anything. See how that's barely on there? Holding it on? So there's going to be no extra glue or anything on here to hold this on. When I take this off, here's another thing too. When I take this off, it's going to be sharp edges right here, which it is. The sharp edges are going to tear this fabric up. And there's barely any fabric right there, see? So that's going to, every time you put your cues in, it's going to start pulling against that. But there we go. Now ours, just to be clear, right? Ours have, not only are the edges deburred and then made not sharp, but we also put a layer of nylon all the way around the edge here, tough nylon to stop it from fraying on there. Now, we used to do it like that, but as I said, we do continuous improvement, so we have made improvements to make sure that that never happens. So it very, very rarely happens now that those edges will come out. But if they did, what do? You just take it out, put a new one in, and you're good to go. All right, so let's go back to this one again, right? So now I want to do the bottom here. I want to take this bottom piece off. You'll notice I'm doing this with no tools, just my fingernails. I'm just curious to see what it's going to take it out. So there you go. So I am not surprised. I am not surprised to find out that the bottom of this case is, wow, maybe even worse than the other one. Okay? So watch this. This is, remember I told you that it stops way up here? Here you go. That's what you're looking at. That right there is all that is between your cues and between your cue parts. That's it. That's it. That's it right there. So they trick you with this. See, the guy says, oh, this is, padded, looks like the equivalent of cases that are $250 and so on. Doesn't tell you that this is what you get for the majority of the case. That's it right there. As opposed to this. Right? As opposed to this. That. This. Sturdy, thick padding in here. Here, let's fold it up. look at this. This is what's protecting your cues inside the tube. Not only that, and I'm only speaking for us right now, but not only that, we use pure resin PVC in here. So this is unadulterated plastic pellets that go into the hopper to form these tubes. So these tubes over here that these guys use are recycled plastic made out of whatever, and they are easy to break, relatively easy to break. So this one's already, look at this. This one's already broken just from the nailing, right? That's just from the nail that was put into it. It's already broken. Let's see how easy it is to tear the rest of it up. Ow. See how easily that broke? Watch this. See that? That's the tube right there. Okay. Fine. You say fine. You know, so what? Let's see a real comparison, right? Okay. You guys want to see a real comparison, right? This is our tube. That's the tube that we use. Okay? Here. Ready? Let's do it again. One more time. Wait, do we need to do it harder? Let's do it harder. That's it. Wait, do I have a... Let me see if I have a step ladder in here. Somewhere. We'll get up even higher. Okay, it looks like we took the step ladder out. But I do have a chair. Kind of rickety ass chair here. Alright, let's see. Ready? That's it. That's what the interior tube is with us compared to this. Compared to that. That's what you're comparing and saying this is the equivalent of cases that are $200 and $250, which includes our cases in our price range. Now again, I'm not speaking for everybody, right? I'm not speaking for other brands that, you know, in that price range. But he's not either, because I know that he doesn't even know how those cases are built either. So yeah, there you go. Here, should we try that from the top? Let me see here. Hold on. Do I have the other tube? While we're at it, we might as well do the whole thing, right? We'll do the tube from last time. Alright, this is the tube from the last one that I did. That's the one that is not his model. Now this tube here, I want to show you something. See how easy that is to squeeze in there? But I don't know if it will break. Now, I did do, you see here, I did slam it before and it just kind of got like that. But I didn't do it real hard. I just dropped it. Let's see what happens when I do the slam test on it. So that one holds up a little bit better. Oh, except look for here. Look here, it cracked more at that spot right there. And it cracked more on that spot right there. Now, how many times did I do the other one? Right? Now, you're going to say, oh, we'll never slam our cases down like that. It doesn't matter, right? It's just too much force. It'll never happen. Well, you know what does happen? Sometimes what happens is your stuff gets run over. Very rarely, but sometimes it happens. There's a story in the AZ thread that I put in there just the other day. I got that back from someone. Just out of curiosity. So just out of curiosity, I jumped on it. I'm 206 pounds currently. Thing is broken. It's broken now. See that? Wait a minute. Wait a minute, you say. Wait a minute. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, John Barton. You're just jealous. You're just a jealous person who's super afraid of the competition, and nobody should ever listen to you. Right? Okay. Fair enough. Let's see what happens. Remember, we already slammed this. How many times? How many times did we already slam this and stress it out? Okay, you ready? You ready? Now, watch this. Look, there's a line right there if you can see it. You probably can't see it, but there is a line right there where you can see the stress. But guess what it didn't do? It didn't break. Right? So how much force is it going to take to actually make this break compared to what you just saw? So you know what? I think that's enough. I think you guys understand. Don't get on here and tell me that this case right here, where is that thing? Here it is. Don't tell me that this thing right here is the equivalent of cases that are $200 to $250 when you don't really know that. You honestly don't know it. You don't know how it's built internally. You don't really understand how it's built externally. And JB cases are in that $200 to $250 range, and they are way, way, way better internally and externally. So in my opinion, you can put up a review telling people how much you love the case and everything, but the moment that you start comparing it to other cases, the moment you start making statements of fact, that's when I step in and I go, whoa, wait a minute. I have facts that are different than what you're claiming. I have cases to use to compare to this case so we can see the actual quality differences, and then people can make a decision as to whether they think that the case is really the equivalent of the cases, of our cases that fall in that price range. So you guys can go through the thread on AZ Billiards. I'll put the link in the description so that you can see it and you can read through everything if you've got the stomach for it. I've written quite a lot in there, as I always do, because I want to make sure that my points are very clear. The guy that did the review, he says that he's an engineer. I don't know what kind of engineer, but he wanted to get into how much force is actually going to ever be applied and so on and so on. Here's the point. The bottom line is that padding is better than no padding, and more padding is better than less padding. And in my opinion, when these people give you a little bit of padding at the top to make it kind of look like ours, and then they take it away for the majority of the case, then they have actually made that case more dangerous for your cues than if they hadn't put any padding at all. And furthermore, if this is what you saw at the top of the case, then you definitely wouldn't think that this case is protecting your cues in any way. So why is it okay when that's what's at the bottom of the case? Right? Why is it okay when they show you this and give you this? See what I'm saying? And then now they've got a guy that puts up a review, and he's effectively shilling for these people. He's effectively saying, I would recommend, he didn't say effectively, he did. He said, I will recommend this case to anyone. Really? Are you going to recommend it to someone who just spent $2,000 on their queue, saved up for 6 months or a year or whatever it took to buy the queue? Are you going to recommend it to someone whose grandfather or father left them a queue that is really precious to them? That's what you're going to do? You know, it's real easy to say, I recommend this to everyone when you're not going to take responsibility whatsoever for any damage that occurs from the use of the product that you're recommending. You know, that's kind of the problem with consumer recommendations, when those consumer recommendations are happening with products that the consumers themselves really don't understand. They don't know how they're built. They don't know how those things actually are going to hold up over time, but yet they feel perfectly comfortable with recommending them to anyone, right? Think about that. So that might work in some situations where there's no danger of anything happening to something precious or something expensive. But in a situation where you want your pool cues to be usable, you don't want them to develop any internal buzzes or cracks or have any finish damage or anything like that, then I think it's irresponsible to recommend cases like this, especially to continue to recommend cases like this after you've seen what they're really made of and how and the differences in quality between this case and cases in the price range that you claimed they're the equivalent of. You know, I just think that's completely irresponsible to do that, especially from an engineer, right? Especially from an engineer. So that's my point right there, and I'm never going to lay down on this. You know, the guy says, well, you can't actually quantify the amount of danger that cues are actually ever in, how much force it actually takes to do it. Well, you know what? Maybe I can't quantify it in terms of exactly how many Newton foot-pounds are being applied, but you just saw me jump on this one time, and you saw me destroy it. One time, you saw what happened. You saw that it broke. The first time that I slammed it, you saw that it broke. And you saw me slam this many, many more times, harder. You saw me jump on it. So you guys decide if that's not quantification enough, especially when you pair that with this type of interior that goes in that tube, padding all the way down, fully lined, cavities all the way closed, all the way to the bottom. You know, you tell me if that's quantification enough to help you to decide that the $80 Crical case, or Conlin, or J Flowers, or whatever name they put on it, where's the box? You know? Here you go. What do we got? Conlin. Okay. The other box that I got over there says J Flowers on it. Let me see. No, it doesn't. This one says also Conlin. I think I said one of them said J Flowers, didn't it? Maybe the back did. Yeah. All right, so it only says Conlin on it, but Conlin, J Flowers, Crical, they're all the same company. They're all made in the same place. Oh, and by the way, this guy had the audacity to say, and I don't think he's even changed it yet. Let's look and see if he's even changed it. This guy had the audacity to say, which I didn't see, by the way. Okay? I bet he didn't change it. Let's find out. All right, feels like you're getting 25% of the price. Okay, so he didn't even change it. So after all this discussion that we've had, right, even after I said very clearly and very matter-of-factly, I said that these cases are not made in the same place, right? That they're not, we don't make these Cricals. Our cases are not made by anybody else. We're the only maker. We own everything in our shop. This guy writes, He writes, these cases look so similar that I would be shocked if they weren't made in the same factory. Then he goes on to say, I have no doubt that the JB cases have certain higher quality details and features, but it feels like if you get one of these Chinese branded cases, you're getting about 75% of the case for about 25% of the price. So first of all, his math is off anyway in the price range that he said, right? $250, $200, whatever. It wouldn't be 25% of the price. It'd be about 35, 30, 40% of the price, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that you're not even getting anywhere close to 75% of the quality of our JB case. So the price is less, but the price ought to be less because you're getting a piece of shit. You know, you're getting a piece of shit that's not even, this case isn't even as well built as a lot of the other knockoffs that I've seen out there. And the audacity to say that it is the equivalent of cases that are $200 to $250, which is, we build cases in that price range. So that includes us, is just ridiculous. It's horrifyingly ridiculous. But then to say the cases look so similar that I would be shocked if they weren't manufactured at the same factory. Like, why would you even say that? Like, what point is there to say that? You know, except to that you're being defensive and you're like, I've got to defend the purchase that I made, you know, and I don't want people to think that I was stupid or anything like that. That's my opinion on why you would say that. Because I don't see any reason to cast aspersions in that way. There's no way to do it. You know, the statements that he makes are just completely full of ignorance. I don't think that they're malice, you know, although I would say that now, after he knows the difference, after he's seen the difference between his case and our cases, now, in my opinion, it becomes malice when it's left up there with no edit, with no retraction and no edit. Now that he has the knowledge, now it's malice, right? It's malice to leave this statement as it is when the owner of the brand, JB Cases, has told you clearly that these cases, these knockoffs, are not made in the same factory, that JB Cases are not made in the same factory as these Crical. So we have a workshop. You could call what we do a factory, but it's not really. It's more like an oversized workshop, you know, and there's a distinction there because when people think of factory, they think of massive mass production, and that's not what we have. We just have a workshop with more people in it doing handwork. The same, if I had 2 people, they'd be doing the same handwork that 25 people are doing. So it would just take longer to make a case. That's all. These Crical cases, these knockoffs, these cheap knockoffs, they are made in a factory with an actual assembly line. And at the end of that assembly line, those cases get put into a plastic bag. They get stuffed in this box. And the factory never ever wants to see them again. Never. They actually have deals with the people that they supply that if the return rate on their product doesn't exceed like 3 to 5%, then they don't even get a credit. So what's happening there is the buyers, the importers of these cases, the importer of the case is basically agreeing that up to 5% of the product can come back to them or be defective before they start to even take any money off the invoice. Well, think about that for a moment, right? Just let that go into your head for a moment, right? They get a container that has 2,000 cases on it, right? 2,000 cases. 5% of that's 100 cases. So that means in that container, up to 100 cases, 100 people, individuals, you can spend your money on that. It comes to you. Something breaks on it. You send it back, even if they're going to give you your money back, which most of the time they will not. Most of the time there's no money back on this. There's no warranty, nothing, right? So you're just stuck with it. But let's just assume for a moment that they're going to give you your money back or give you a different case, right? You still have the hassle. You still have the time. And then, let's not even talk about whether your queue broke or something. Something happened and it caused your queue to get damaged, because they're definitely not taking responsibility for that. So, but just the case itself. Something broke that you didn't, the handle came off or the zipper came off or something like that within the first month or so of ownership. And you call them up and you're like, hey man, this case really sucks. I want a new one, right? And they say, okay, send it back to us. We'll send you a new one. Well, now you got to box it up. You got to go spend shipping and all that to get it back. And then they're going to send you a new one. And what's the new one? The new one's just as shitty as the old one. So that's what they do. They're making so much profit off these cheap cases that they don't care how much inconvenience you go through. All they really care about is that their percentage of defects doesn't rise above a certain level, so they have to start spending extra money from the factory to pay the importer back for the extra defects. Think about that. What kind of situation is that? You know what my acceptable defect rate is? 0. That's my acceptable defect rate, is 0. I got cases back there that I will not send to anybody, that if I send it to you, you wouldn't find a thing wrong with it. You could use that case your entire life and never think that anything was wrong with it. But do you know who knows that something's wrong with it? Me. I know. So my people know that my acceptable rate of defects is 0. And they know that they're going to hear from me whenever I see a case that isn't done correctly. So that is the biggest difference between us selling cases at $200, $250, $80, $100, $300, $350, $1,000, $2,000. It doesn't matter how much you spend on a case with JB Cases. You're going to get exactly that same high quality, high protection, superior protection, padded protection, super durability, extremely comfortable to use. You're going to get that in every case at every price point that we sell at. So no, I'm not going to accept it when somebody wants to put up a review and start in with comparisons where they don't have the information, and then after they get the information, they still stick by it. So at that point, it just becomes deceptive and malicious, in my opinion. When they have the information, as the guy has right now with 2 different cases from this manufacturer, let's see if he edits this review or not. I'm going to bet that he doesn't edit it. But we'll see. And I wasn't mad. I wasn't really mad at the guy when I first saw it, until I saw the one where he said that I would be shocked, he says, if they weren't made in the same factory. That pissed me off. And then when we got all the way further through it in the discussion, and his basic premise now is the level of protection that you provide is overkill and doesn't matter. That's basically his premise right now, is the level of protection that you provide doesn't matter. Okay. Well, tell that to the people who accidentally ran over their cases, or their cases, and their queue survived. Okay? So at this point, yeah, I'm a little bit pissed. I'm a little bit angry about it. But you know what? What I do when I get angry is just show you guys the facts. So there you go. All right, well, that's all I have to say for today. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Probably Tuesday, I think we're going to shoot for a live sale. I got a bunch of new boxes here that I'm going to unbox. And then you can see that we've got some more inventory up on the wall finally. So look for us on Tuesday. That'll probably be in the evening around 7:30ish or so, Central Time. And once again, thanks for hanging out. I'll answer some questions if I see some. So hold on one second. Let me see here. Hey, buddy. Any of the blue sport grip things available for your cases if you have grips on your queue? Yeah, we probably have some blue ones. Let me see. Here, hold on. So what Eric is talking about what Eric is talking about is this. So if you have a cue with a sport grip, so I'll just say it like this: like case makers are always following cue makers. So whatever cue makers do, case makers have to respond to it. So several years ago, Predator started putting out cues with rubber grips on them. And so what we did, now most of our cases, as a matter of fact, all of our cases can accommodate cues with rubber grips if you put the cue in first and you take it out last, right? So the tension inside is loosened as much as possible. But if you don't want to do that, then the solution is this. You put the cue inside of a nylon sleeve, and then you take that and you put it inside the case. And then we got a little thingy here, a little loop, you can grab it and pull it out, and so on. So that's what you would do. It's basically like a cue condom, somebody affectionately named it. But that's what you would do. Now you can also do that with you can also, by the way, all of our cases come with one of those, just complimentary. But you can also do the same thing with just nylon pantyhose, right? Just go to the dollar store or something and get some pantyhose and just cut off a leg, and you can do the same thing. Okay? You don't have to spend $10 with us. All right, what are other questions? Crical sounds like a plastic wrap company. It sure does. Okay. It would be curious to see how much tension it would take to rip the handle off. Oh, I think I showed you that. Okay. Eric says, I personally own one, and these cases are very tough and rugged. Which do you mean, Eric? The Crical or the JB? Rim shank nail. Thank you, Jason. So Jason said that our nails, the ones I showed you here, this one is called a rim shank nail. Rim shank nail. God, I wish that would focus and you guys could see it. But this is their nail right here. This is their nail, very smooth. This is our nail. You can see it's not only is it thicker, but it also has the ridges on it. Maybe you can see it if I contrast it. Maybe right there, I don't know. But anyway, if anybody wants a higher quality picture of these things, I'll be happy to take a picture and post it. Okay? All right, are there any other questions? Thank you, Eric. Eric says the JB. Eric says snow leopard design, 3 pockets and backpack straps. Did we sell both of those? Oh, that's what you have, Eric. That's what you're saying. Okay, I get it. You're saying that's what you have. I understand. All right. Anyway, feel free to tell me in the comments what you think of the demonstration that I did. Was I fair? Was I not fair? Do you think that I was being biased in any way? I mean, obviously I'm biased, right? Because I'm the maker of the JB cases. So when people make claims, I want to make a real good comparison. But I don't think that I was unfair in my comparison. I think I showed everything as it was, as it is. And but feel free to go ahead and make comments, and then whatever you think, and I'll respond to them, and we can have a discussion. Because discussion and debate is what leads to innovation and improvement. That's how I feel about it. So that's been my whole life, in cases. That's what I've done from day one back in 1991. And that's what I'm going to continue to do for as long as I'm alive and everything that I'm putting my hands into. And I don't know of any better way than to be able to stand behind your products than to be able to build products that can be stood behind. So there you go. All right. That's all I've got. You guys have a good night, and everybody be safe and stay in stroke, and I hope you play great. And yeah, everybody be good. All right, take care. Bye bye.